Hello, one and all. Welcome to Lemon Live at 5. We're so glad that you're here. My notification for my own show just popped up. As a matter of fact, it is on the screen behind me, so you might have several rows of Don Lemon. So we can't get enough of Don Lemon. I know you guys are saying that. The haters are saying enough already. Please, no more Don Lemons. But let's talk about this, okay? This has been a fascinating day, and don't worry about it. Look, I'm not going to inundate you with sound bites of all the crazy shit that you know who has said all day. I'm not going to do that to you, but I do think that there are some things that are really important enough for you to know about, important enough to show you the craziness to come, some folks will call it ignorance, the gall of it all, and the sort of game show, reality show aspect of it all that many were intrigued by last time and many were over it. As my friend said, I think it was Joy Reid who said, "Is this the senior citizen that you wanted in the Oval Office?" So I guess it is. So in the lead up to November's election, I'm sure that you had people in your life or perhaps folks on TV telling you that Donald Trump was America's first isolationist anti-war candidate, that he would just be against the war. It was America first and just America. It was consistent, if not, it was a constant, if not consistent point made by Donald Trump's MAGA allies. The former president in the conflicts abroad, that's what they insisted. We'd stop wasting money on endless fighting. That's what they claimed. Well, this afternoon, the so-called anti-war candidate or president to be announced that he is open to using military action to forcibly take Greenland from our, let me point this out, ally, Denmark, and the Panama Canal from, yes, Panama. He's not happy that China, he says, is taking advantage of the Panama Canal, and they should not be allowed to. Now, for those of you keeping track at home, that is two new potential wars with allies. That's the president-elect. That's what he floated in passing, like it was no big deal whatsoever. So much to dig into. I'm really happy and blessed and fortunate to have this next person on. A fantastic guest joining me this evening. You're going to love this. So get your popcorn. Get stationary. Sit. If you're in a car, put your earphones in. Turn it up. Wherever you are. Tezlyn Figaro is here as a political commentator for The Breakfast Club, the chief political correspondent for Revolt News, and a friend who I love, a new friend, as a matter of fact, but someone that I've admired for a long time. Tezlyn, thank you so much for joining. How was your holiday? How was your New Year? We're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here as well. Happy New Year to you as well, Don. Such an honor to be here. Thank you.
Tezlyn. No, seriously, I'm trying not to pay. I always tell this is my mantra. You can be informed without being inundated, because this is going to happen over and over and over. Every day there's going to be a new tweet, a new tweets, new something that's crazy that happens. What do you think, before we get also into the tech bro of it all, the getting rid of fact checkers on two very important media, social media sites. What do you think of what the former president said, and what is your advice moving forward for the next 4 years for antics like what happened today?
It's the same advice that I've been saying, for the last 10, 12 years plus. People really have to engage, number one, on the local and the state level. That's critically important. I'm kind of disappointed that there's not a lot of talk about what's happening in 2025. Many races that we should be talking about, mayor races count, governor races count. All of those things trickle into Congress and trickle on up to the presidency from all the way from the bottom to the top. So really embracing yourself around what's happening local, still having the national conversation, Don, but it is going to be a circus. It just is. We know what to expect. We've seen it. We've been here before. This is what we have to brace ourselves for. And then also continuing to have outlets like this, or outlets, for example, what Charlamagne started with the Black Effect Podcast Network, with having different voices who are not censored as well, like what they're trying to do on Facebook, and really just tapping into those that you trust. And even if, when I say trust, Don, I mean, not necessarily always to tell you what you want to hear, but tell you what you need to hear.
Have you been listening to me? Because that's the exact conversation I had on my live show this morning, where I said, you may not like it. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, and I'm always going to tell you the truth. And I think a lot of people, it's tough They don't want to hear it, but you have to tell the truth, and that's a whole. That is the reason for fact checkers. But I was interrupted. I apologize. Keep going.
No, go ahead. That's it. I mean, we have to. I did a live the other day. It's so funny because we were on the same page, and I was talking about the digital discipline that MAGA has. The discipline to go in and continue to post and tweet and comment over and over and over and over and over. When I interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy on the Breakfast Club, I guarantee if somebody goes and looks at that interview right now, you will see a MAGA supporter tearing me down, of course, within the last week or so. I did that interview, Don, in July of last year. Over, last time I checked, 50, 60,000 comments consistently over and over and over. They make sure that their comments are at the top of the page. They make sure that they engage. They make sure that they're on top of it. So what I've been telling people, and I'm independent, just to be clear, most of the policies that I support do lean left. But what I've been telling people now, we really have to get into a digital discipline, really making sure that you are consistently supporting the shows that you align with. For example, people who are watching the show now, that you're consistently supporting, whether it's me on IG, me with my podcast, me on Revolt, whatever it is, and making sure that we also, have voice in this space. Because one thing that MAGA does, they are the minority of this country, Don, but they have been successful, whether people like this or not, they have been successful in making sure that their message is out over and over and over. Trump's already done back-to-back press conferences, back-to-back. Right. We don't get to hear anything from the Biden and the Harris administration.
Right.
So where's the DNC? What are we talking about on these next races? Where is the media rollout? Where's the next Facebook for the Democrat Party? Where's the next Instagram for the Democrat Party? They just are not equipped, Don, at this stage. And so some of that accountability has to be put back on the Democrat Party.
Are you guys listening to this? Do you guys remember, is anybody in these here chats, on these here chat streets, listening to, because I think we're soulmates. We're kindred sisters and brothers from another mother. I was saying the same thing this morning, that we also need to create our own ecosystem. And I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not a Republican. I am an independent. I'm not registered for a political party. I'm a registered independent. Some places you can register as independent, others you cannot. I'm an independent. And so I don't believe in parties, but I believe the only party trying to hold together our democracy right now is Democrats. I don't think they're doing a great job at it, but I think we should help them out because they're at least trying to do it. And I know that the Republicans are not trying to do it. So let's get the Trump of it all out of the way, and then we'll tell people, Tezlyn, what they can do moving forward. What's the advice moving forward for folks who would like to get out of this madness and have some sanity back in America? This is Donald Trump, where he's saying he's going to open the military action against our ally, Denmark, regarding Panama. This is real. Watch it.
President, thank you. I wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages.
Okay. Tezlyn, also what people don't realize, and I'll play it in a little bit, this isn't the first time that someone in America has made the case, about Panama. We'll talk to Greenland of it all later. That made the case about Greenland. But to hear that about Panama and China, what's your response?
My response is, and as a veteran, Trump's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do. For us to just continue to, we don't know if that's going to be true or not. This is a day by day. Yeah, this is a day by day on the job training. It goes day by day, Don. I mean, honestly, we've seen this story before. You can watch a movie over and over. The ending is still going to be the same. We know Trump is going to do whatever he wants to do, and we can commentate on this and say what he's going to do with Panama Agreement. At the end of the day, we don't know what the hell he's going to do. Trump doesn't know what the hell he's going to do. This is a day by day experience that we're all having to live and be a part of. And as much as we want to put our head in the sand and say, I just want to get away from it, I don't want to have to deal with the chaos, we just don't have that choice, Don. We have to be involved. We have to continue to keep talking about it. We have to keep pushing back. We have to keep creating outlets such as this that continue to inform people, and we just have to work harder than the opposition. That's just where we are.
Okay, so again, let's get it out of the way because I want to inform people. I don't think you should see every single tweet, every single soundbite, but this one I think is important because someone just asked in the comments, what is the importance? What's the obsession with Greenland? I'll let Trump explain to you, and then I'll show you what the obsession is and who else, how many people in the past have been, including Donald Trump back in 2019, have been trying to acquire Greenland. Here it is.
Back on Greenland. Your position is clear, but have you directed your staff to take specific actions to draw plans? And can you elaborate again? You didn't rule out military coercion.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if
Okay. The thing is that he's telling you it's because of security or whatever. It's resources. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. He wants the resources, the connection to oil, right? The ease of getting oil, etc. To really just inform us of this conversation, watch this piece, and then Tezlyn and I will talk. Here it is.
Americans don't know the real reason why President Trump tried to buy Greenland in 2019. Historically, the U.S. wanted to get Greenland on many occasions. One in 1867 with President Andrew Johnson expressing this desire. One in 1910 and 1946 with offers sent to Denmark, and more recently with President Trump 5 years ago. During the last stages of his presidency, Donald Trump expressed interest in purchasing Denmark's autonomous territory, Greenland. But why? Apart from being a frozen wasteland for the most part, Greenland holds significant geopolitical value due to its location in the Arctic. If you didn't know, this region has gotten increasingly critical for global shipping routes as ice melts and new passages open. Economically, Greenland is rich in natural resources, including rare earth minerals, oil, and gas, which are crucial for modern technologies and energy needs. And we all know that the U.S. government has an intimate love relationship with oil. You see, Trump is a businessman at heart. He viewed this acquisition as a long-term investment, potentially securing these resources for the U.S. and reducing dependency on other nations, particularly China, which dominates the rare earth market. Having Greenland as an American territory, the U.S. can oil up and be more independent and less vulnerable in energy crisis scenarios.
So there you go. It's for resources. And you should just say that. Someone said in the chat, he doesn't even know where Greenland is. He's just listening to what people say to him. But think about this. I want you to think about this. Rare earth minerals. Think about lithium and all the batteries and the electric cars, if you're picking up on what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Rare earth minerals and also the oil there. It's a good, other people have asked, other people have tried. It would be great if we're more energy independent, but we are fairly energy independent right now, more independent than we have been in history with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. He should just tell people really why he wants it and not say it's because of safety and security, Tezlyn.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure at some point he may, but I will, because he doesn't seem to have a problem to bite his tongue. But, honestly, I guess that's not one of the things that is necessarily at the top of the list for most, because he didn't run on Greenland. That wasn't, I think he's just talking, saying we're not going to let that happen. I don't even know what he's talking about, what the hell he's talking about. Like I said, we'll just see, what's going to happen on a day-by-day basis.
He's trying to just really take control of the news cycle.
Yeah, that's it. The bottom line. The things that he ran on, as we all know, was immigration number one, day one. I'm interested to see what that's going to look like on day one, because remember he said day one, the price of these eggs. I'm waiting to see, when the price of these eggs is going to come down, because they ran on the price of eggs.
Well, Tezlyn, he's already said he can't lower the price of eggs.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting. Well, he said. Well, they said
after the election, after he was elected, he said it. He didn't say it before he was elected, and also they failed to point out that there is the H5N1, the bird flu is the main reason that eggs are so expensive now, is because there's a bird flu.
Oh, okay.
And there's a shortage of eggs.
Oh, okay.
We failed to point that out.
Well, we'll see what MAGA has to say about it. Remember, it was all about the eggs. So that's not happening. Immigration day one, the tariffs. That's what I'm more concerned about, tariffs, and how that's going to affect us here in America. Greenland, we'll just kind of see. I just think he was just, like you said, Don, just talking, to be quite honest with you.
Well, he also, but he talked about the tariffs, and he's going to talk about it as it relates to the Gulf of Mexico and whatever. But I'll play that in a second. But just so you know, when I talk to you about let's own the news cycle, hey, Don Jr., Charlie Kirk, get on a plane, go to Greenland, and show some Trump support. Here it is.
Greenland,
this was today.
With Don Jr.
Everyone wants to be on TikTok.
What do you guys think of America?
Great.
Love America, and you love Trump?
Yes, of course.
The youth of Greenland,
We're
Don.
hearing a lot of it, guys. We're hearing a lot of it.
And you guys all watch TikTok, right?
Of course. I'll follow you.
Oh, thank you. Live from Greenland.
All right, that's cringy. I don't even want to respond to that. I'm just going to say, also, the Gulf of Mexico is now going to be the Gulf of America. Quickly, let's get past Trump. Hurry up. Here it is.
Mexico is really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too. And the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers.
This is your territory. You said you want to talk about the tariffs or whatever. So in Canada and also Mexico, I don't think he realizes history and how old Mexico is, and that America, in order to become America, acquired territory from Mexico. And so it's appropriate that it be named after, I believe, the folks who were here first. But that's just me. But he says he's going to put tariffs on some of our closest allies.
Yeah,
and that's what you find disturbing.
That's what I find really disturbing, and I think people need to pay close attention to that in about the next 12 months, 18 months. I know they're saying, we got to go through this rough patch to make, everything sky high in order for the long-term vision. But I'm particularly concerned about that, particularly those who are middle class and poor. It is going to affect the middle class and the poor quite a bit, Don. I've been telling people 3 things that you need to do. Strap up. And what I mean by strap up, I mean, I believe in 2A. I believe in protecting yourself, because when crime goes up, then when prices go up, crime go up. So I'm concerned that people need to be able to protect themselves. I also say people need to stack up every dollar that you have, reduce your means, live comfortable, but try to reduce as much as you can. That means move in with a family member, get a roommate, whatever that is, stack up. And then I've told people those are the couple of things that I think you need to do in the next 18 months, because it's going to get real. There's this thing going around where they say F around and find out. But what I need people to know is we're all going to be effing around and finding out together. There's not going to be one group exempt from the other. As these things continue to happen, particularly in my community, particularly in communities that I try to serve, all of us will be taking astray from these types of policies. And I don't know if we'll see it in the first year, but certainly going into the second year.
Look, I think that the same thing with trying to deport, I've been saying, immigrants to this country and migrants, you're going to need them, because try to get rid of all those people and you might end up with an economy. If you think the economy during COVID was bad, try to get rid of people who are essential to the construction industry, who are essential to the services industry, who are essential to the farming in our country, essential to keeping groceries on our shelves. Now, we do need to figure out how to incorporate people into the country and to get them here legally and to get them paying into the system, not only for their benefit, our benefit, but for their benefit, America's benefit, but for their benefit, because they can also add to the tax base. So we need to figure out all of those things, but trying to get rid of people, the good brown people, because they don't want to get rid of the H-1B visa folks, because they are the good brown people. Instead of trying to get rid of some of the brown people that come across the border, they should be trying to incorporate people into our society as much as possible, but also, I think, take care of the African Americans who are in the country, who have a unique history to this country, etc. Okay, and also we need to start teaching the history of more than America. Mexico predates America by at least 800 years.
Mm-hmm.
So now, do they want to colonize the Gulf of Mexico? Is that what they're saying?
Well, that sounds right. I mean, that's what America does, colonize. So where's the confusion? I mean, nobody colonizes better than America. So there's no confusion. I mean, to me, so take over something that didn't belong to you and pretend that it's yours this whole time.
That's what he said. It's ours. He said it's ours.
That's the American way. That's what they've been doing.
Folks don't realize that. They think that, honestly, if you look at, this is sort of west, way past the Mason-Dixon line. This is out west. If you look at one of the original maps of the country, Mexico was half the country, and the United States took over the rest of Mexico to move all the way out to California. So when you say that people are native or indigenous to the land, it's actually Mexicans who were here before Americans who are out west. So that's why they don't want the history of the country taught in our schools. But I move on. This is Representative Jim Hines talking about the tariffs and the madness of it all, of trying to buy Greenland and take away the Panama Canal. Here it is.
Mexico is really, really important to us in stopping fentanyl, in helping us with the migration problems we have at the southern border. Canada is really important to us, another NATO ally. We should not be gratuitously pissing these people off. Again, where is the economic benefit for the people who voted for Donald Trump when he's off, telling tales of Greenland and renaming the Gulf of Mexico?
Well, when the way he pitches it is, when it comes to Greenland, for example, it's for national security purposes. Is there any credence to that statement?
No, it's bananas. It's insane. I mean, again, Denmark, which owns Greenland, I think that's probably a fact that most Americans are learning, is a NATO ally, right? No, so it's just complete madness from a national security standpoint, and it also is antagonizing, right? What if some leader in Canada or Mexico is elected and says, Mexico, we want California back. We're getting California back. Or the British say, we're...
Okay, so there you go. What do you think, Tezlyn? We're going to move on after this.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what you're here to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, same thing again, Don. I think this is typical Trump. It was a very long press conference, by the way, for those who didn't see it. It went on for about an hour or so, maybe even 2 hours. So he talked about quite a bit. He rambled on quite a bit. I'm not surprised of America, him wanting to colonize anything at all. That's what he represents. The Make America Great Again. We all know what that means. And so I'm not surprised. It's just going to be a matter of, will he be able to do it? Will Congress allow it? Will Democrats be able to take over? And to be quite honest with you, Don, if Democrats are more concerned with handshake gate, which is what I'm talking about, VP Harris not having. If they're more concerned about that, and the blogs going crazy about that, and the articles about that, and there's no strat, which I understand it needs to be talked about as great content, but I find it alarming to me personally, because I do not see the same coordinated media effort that should be done now to say, what is the next step? Democrats have yet to put out what is the next step? How are they going to compete in this digital market? How are you going to? They're just not equipped, Don. They're just not equipped. Trump's done 2, 3, 4 press conferences. Where are the Democrats at? What are they doing? Where's Biden? Where's Harris? Where's the Democrat Party? Where's Jamie Harrison? They're getting behind the mark. Trump is doing exactly what he set out to do, which is come out, talk for 2 hours, ramble on about it, anything, and control the news cycle. He's very good at it. Whether I like what he said or not, he's very good at it. And Democrats have yet to learn how to. I don't even know if they play defense anymore. They certainly don't know how to play offense, but I don't even think defense. It looks like they've just given up, just to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Well, let's do next step, and then we'll talk about the Zuckerberg of it all. Okay. So, what do you think the next steps? Because that's very important to you. When I said, Tezlyn, will you come on? Tezlyn said, yes, I absolutely will. Tezlyn, what's passionate? What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about how Democrats move forward. And what say you, Tezlyn? So talk to us, because folks are actually asking me this morning in the chat, Don. You're saying all this. You're talking about what Democrats didn't do, what Republicans are doing. Then what do Democrats need to do?
What Democrats need to do, independents need to do, anybody who is willing to get in the fight needs to do is really wrap themselves around their local and state. Republicans are talking about state, leave it up to the states. It's not something that I necessarily agree with. And I try to explain to people that when you leave it up to the states, a lot of our cousins in other states get screwed, because they can't just pack up and move to Atlanta or pack up and move, to a city, to Colorado, which is one of the most liberal states in the country, by the way. So I do know that hurts us, but this is where we are now. Right now, they're talking about state rights. So it's very important to me that we continue to do the work, the actual work on the ground, Don. I have a program called Push the Line, Politics Until Something Happens, where I train 200 to 300 people every year on how to be candidates, how to be organizers, how to be operatives. I'm not just talking about this just from a talking hand standpoint, but giving people the actual tools that they need to run for city commissioner, to run for county commissioner, to be dog catcher, to be precinct chair. People have to get involved on what is outside of their front door. The federal side of things will continue to frustrate people. But if you get involved in what's happening with your school board, if you're getting involved in what's happening with your mayor, have big races coming up in Detroit, for example, big mayor race, that's coming up. You have a mayor's race coming up in New York. These are things that people need to be involved with, and they simply just can't stick their head in the sand and just say, I'm done with it. That's just not an option. It's not an option to just be done with it. We have to get involved. That who has the most power is at the local and the state level, which is why, by the way, I don't know if you appreciated the debate between DeSantis and Newsom. I thought that was one of the best debates ever between two governors. Great debate. I tell people to go back and watch that, because I think people miss how powerful governors are and how it really, really makes a difference. And when you really understand how the governor works, you'll want to get more involved on the state level. I just relocated to Atlanta for that reason, Don, because I needed to be in a city that I know I could be involved with on the local level, that I can have voice with on a local level, so that I can have voice with on the state level, because I understand that these things are important. And more importantly, we need the resource and the tool and the media support. Like you, we have to have the media support. Look at what entertainment is doing. Everybody, the blogs were all on board about Handshake Gate. Keep challenging folks. Work with us, partner with us, collab with us. I'm not going to have the amount of followers that a rapper would have, like my brother Killer Mike. He's going to have more followers, but he does a great job in saying, hey, look at what Tezlyn is doing. Look at what this person's doing. Look at what, so we need more collaborative efforts, because it's just too many for us to touch. And it's not enough of us. Like Kendrick said, it's not enough real steppers, that's really out here getting the information. So I'm just asking people to continue to organize locally and continue to partner with those of us, very few of us, by the way, who actually try to have voice in this space.
Well, you're talking about the number of followers as the people who have been doing this for a long time, and especially the conservative voices and sort of the tech bro supporters, they have been in these spaces for a lot longer than we have. And they have an ecosystem and quite frankly, just, a solar system, so to speak, more so than the sort of moderate voices, the center right or center left voices, the independent voices, and they don't have to worry about facts, which we will talk about in a minute. And so they have gotten a foothold in this streaming business long before most of us have, and they get support. They get the support from corporations. They get the support from billionaires. Are you getting any support from billionaires and from corporations?
I don't get support from billionaires. Corporations.
So we're telling people, Tezlyn, to hit that thumbs up. It affects the algorithm. Support your independent media. Like and subscribe. Those things are really important to us.
Really important. Really important. I stress that all the time. I'll never forget, since you played a clip of Charlie Kirk. And I was on Fox with him once about reparations. And I brought him all the way down, with my commentary. And I'll never forget, the next week, Don, they brought him back and made me stand on the side and allow him to respond to me without me having the opportunity to respond back. Yeah. I'll never forget that. And it just shows how, when you said support, they made a way, for Charlie Kirk. They made a way. People say, oh, yes, they created these environments for the Charlie Kirks, for the Candace Owens, for many of those, for those folks that's created these support systems, and and they have supporters that have the digital discipline. I keep saying that, digital discipline, because they're not the majority of this country, they're the minority of this country. But if you are only paying attention to politics every now and then, and you're going on to the blog and to the gossip and all of that, make it your business to say, hey, let me see what Don is doing on his page. Let me see what Tezlyn's doing on the page. Make it your business to actively engage. And like you said, click a like, click a support, click a follower. I have, Don, I think 6 million people came to my page last month, but I only have 160,000 followers. So it's not that people are not seeing what I'm doing, but it's something about following that they just can't have the digital discipline to do. I'm not doing it to be if I wanted followers, I would be on OnlyFans. So I'm not I'm not in this because I'm excited.
You can do it. But you can do it.
Let's keep it real.
We all saw the picture that's up on the thumbnail, but go on. Sorry.
But that's real. If I wanted to do it, I would do OnlyFans. But God has called me to do this work. And it has been the hardest work. I didn't get in this because my family was in politics. Nobody in my family was in politics. No one brought me into the game. There was no money that put me into the game. I didn't marry into the game. I literally got this out the mud, or I would say the concrete, even deeper than the mud. And I've tried to walk away from it so many times, Don, but I keep getting pulled back over it, keep pulled back and just continue to keep doing what I can do as one person. So when people tell me, well, Tezlyn, I don't have your platform. Well, do like I did. I started out on Blog Talk Radio, $39 a month. Just getting my voice out there. And I just have to just continue and just hope that we get the support to stay in business.
Well, let me just say also, there are a couple of things that to do with that. Also, the algorithms, when you look at who is in charge of these algorithms, who's programming these algorithms, who's deciding what to suppress and what to amplify, because that does happen. And Mark Zuckerberg admits to that. He says, we suppressed news because it was making people feel bad. Now, these are the facts don't care about your feelings, people. So it's interesting that during the time that there was a Democratic president, that they started to suppress news. And then right after there was an election and a certain person won, now they want to elevate news. Now they want more people to pay attention to the news. Now you have to remember too, as I was saying, Tezlyn, there's a couple things. These folks who are doing that, who's getting, of the big deals and who gets all the followers, they're not that smart. They are just like every other area of business, people failing up, a lot of white men failing up just because, right? When you look at the Joe Rogans of the world, who's out there spreading conspiracy theories about vaccines, etc., and saying you shouldn't be looking to me for facts or news or information. I am not that. At least he's being honest about that, but people are looking at them for that. And you realize, well, these folks, they don't really care about facts. They're not that bright. They're just sitting at home doing what people do in the bars, and having conversations like they're sitting around having beer and chicken wings. People want it, but if it's news and information, that's a whole different, I believe, algorithm than bros just sitting around talking shit and being racist and bigoted and sexist.
No, I completely agree. So what is the alternative to that? So I guess we need bros sitting around too, talking about what's important.
Exactly. I agree.
Something has to give. There has to be an antidote for that. I'm really trying hard on some things that I'm trying to put together at Revolt. We have to figure out a way. That's why I don't try to shit on entertainers. And people say, entertainers need to get it. No. We just have to find a better way, to get them involved in a way to bring those followers.
Tezlyn, let's table that, because we backed into this conversation. Let's start from the beginning of this conversation. So we'll just hold that thought. Okay, this is what happened today. This is Mark Zuckerberg. This is what happened today on one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. Now, remember what happened around the 2020 election as it relates to facts and all the misinformation. Remember what happened around COVID with all the misinformation about vaccines, etc., and about COVID, that it was a pandemic, that it was a flu, that it was going to go away, that you can inject yourself with disinfectant or light inside of it. All of that being spread from the highest office in the land to all of these sort of streaming podcast bros who were getting upset about all these alternative things that had no fact and no basis in medicine and science. So this is now Mark Zuckerberg, who said he was going to be the antidote to that. And now he is acquiescing and saying, okay, now we changed our mind. Here's the announcement from Mark Zuckerberg.
Recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US.
Okay, pause.
After
what
Trump
do you say,
first held-
Tezlyn? You were going to get rid of fact checkers.
Yeah. Again, this is a moneymaker. You know, Trump is a moneymaker. Trump is media gold. I remember, and I'm old enough to remember Mark Zuckerberg was literally apologizing to those parents whose children, committed suicide due to, how the algorithms worked in Facebook. So clearly we see here, he didn't give a damn about any of that. This is about money, and Trump is in charge. He's a media gold mine. And so it would serve Facebook well to allow, because again, his followers are going to follow, they're going to engage, they're going to click like, they're going to. So I'm just going to be honest, the left has not created that what's the word, that media, whatever it is that
the
they
media
have.
Environment, the ecosystem,
the ecosystem
platform.
To make it to make it a formidable opponent. So I just think Mark is being a businessman. Do I like it? No. Should it be fact checkers? Yes, it absolutely should. But when they have fact checkers, people say, well, I don't trust Facebook anymore. I don't want to be on Facebook. So if Trump doesn't want to get involved, then they lose the money, just like we saw with Twitter. Went and started Truth and then came back to Twitter. So I just think this is just playing to Trump and his base that continues to keep digital media popping. And the left has yet to find something that can compete. That's just my opinion.
Let's go. Keep going.
After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more
with mainstream discourse. What do you make of that?
I make up it saying, hey, all of your little affirmative action, all of your political correct commentary, all of the getting canceled, all of that, they've been working towards this, Don, and we're here now. Is
there any truth to that? Is he right about some of that?
Right about saying that some of this stuff needs to get rid of?
Yeah.
From a money standpoint, in his shoes, yes. I mean, it doesn't make money. If you're censoring people and saying what can't be said and not said, he tried to do it the Biden-Harris administration way. Now Trump's in charge, and the whole MAGA machine, everything from getting rid of, now McDonald's is no longer even offering diversity programs, Dodd. At McDonald's, we're talking about at McDonald's, where they're not even censoring, who can be on fries or not. So this is where we are, and I'm using that loosely. It was obviously about contracts and things of that sort. But this is no longer America's showing you exactly who they are. And to be honest with you, Don, I appreciate it. I'd rather know.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I'd rather
say
know.
the quiet part out loud so that I know.
Yeah, I'd rather know. Let's stop crying over who's shaking whose hand, and let's deal with the reality of where it is. So yes, being politically correct, censoring folks for everything you say, getting canceled, not canceled. It doesn't make business sense for Mark Zuckerberg to be in the business of political correctness with a Donald Trump in office. It makes sense for him to align himself with Trump and his supporters that want to get rid of all of those things.
Let's go. Let's listen a little bit more.
Inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms.
This is where he talks about suppression
we used
and
to have
amplification.
Filters that scanned for any policy violation.
So he's talking about what they can look for, that they have AI, they know what you're saying and what's happening in these chats, and the AI is looking for it. My problem with this, what he's going to say now, is that what he's saying is we don't have enough people in order to be able to do what he's saying now. All he has to do with a multi-billion-dollar company is hire more people, more real eyes who can find these things rather than a computer that overcorrects. He could be hiring people to do it, but he doesn't want to hire people. I understand what he's saying. Tezlyn, if you're out here on these digital streets like we are, if you're on YouTube, you can't say certain words. If
Right.
you're on the TikTok, you have to watch out many times you say YouTube, because then they will suppress you because they don't want you promoting another platform. You cannot say the R word as it relates to women that rhymes with grapes. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that because then they'll say you're talking about things that are inappropriate. You can't even talk about what the former president and future president, what he was found liable of in a court about doing to a woman in a dressing room in a department store. You can't even say that word. So I actually agree with him about some of these things, because you get strikes. Right, you get suspended.
How do we know who's determining the words, though, Don? Is there going to be a master list somewhere that, like, how do we know what words they're going to pick and choose on what works and what doesn't?
Well, that's the problem. But there are words you can't say. You can't even say. You have to say pew pew on some of those instead of talking about a firearm. You can't even say the M word. You have to say unalive, because it will suppress you, because it is AI that is listening rather than people. And on these multi-billion-dollar platforms, they should build context either into the algorithm or either into the AI, or they need to, I would hope that they would find people who are actually monitoring these situations and taking the context of conversations into account, rather than just saying, you can't do this, you can't say that, you can't do this, because they don't know what the context is. Okay, that's where I agree with him. Let's keep going.
Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content.
Tune the filter.
The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts.
There you go.
But it feels like we're in a new era now. And we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump.
Pause, please. You know what they're saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of California into Texas.
That's right, into the red state where there's less bias. Okay. Now, I thought it was interesting. He said they're only going to rely on posts that were reported first.
Right.
So if it's not reported, then it's all to the good. And then I wonder, how many times it need to be reported, all of that. And I think it's hysterical to say it's going to be this new, nice, friendly civic engagement. that's definitely not going to happen.
But civic engagement, I think he means like civics, like people talking about policy and politics. And whatever.
He did, and he said positive, though. Remember, he said it's going to be positive and friendly.
Yeah, no. It's going to be you stupid lib, you whatever, I blah, 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 screw you, or whatever. Let's finish this up and move on. Protecting free expression. Finally, we're going to work with the Trump administration, he says. Go on.
Push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it.
I bet.
Tezlyn?
Yeah,
you hear that? What is that noise?
Paper, the money. That's right.
That's what this is about.
Exactly what it's about.
But I just want to be petty for a second. What Mark Zuckerberg, is that a perm? Is he? What is he dressed? Is he like a 19-year-old? Like, what is? Isn't Mark Zuckerberg like 40 years old or something? Like, I'm not saying, yeah, hey. Sometimes people say, Don, you dress a little young. I'm like, hey, I do me. I'm happy. Mark is happy, but I'm just, Mark, what's up with that?
Yeah, Mark is very happy.
And Mark has billions of reasons to be happy.
This is about the bread. You heard him saying we're working with the Trump administration. If you are not on board with Trump and talking against him and not allowing him to say whatever he needs to say to reach his base on Facebook, Twitter, or anywhere else, you will be put out the game. So when Mark said, somebody said,
look at the screen. Read that, please. Ashanti, read it, please.
It's looking like Screech from Saved by the Bell. So he's just falling in line, Don. He's falling in line and saying, hey, we did it the Democrat way. We played by the rules for the Democrats. They're now out of office. Trump is back. It's time to get it popping again on Facebook. Time to let everything run loose, run wild. Damn him standing in front of those parents, saying, knowing that, he hurt many young people's lives because of algorithms. None of that matter. This is about the money. And so the question I tell the people now is, who are you going to support moving forward to at least have some balance? It's really up to us at the end of the day, Don.
It's amazing, though, to me, Tezlyn, and maybe that is a lesson to some folks. Just the blatant transactional nature of some people, where they just sort of go where the money is. There are no standards. There are no morals. It's just like, hey, look, this is we don't care. We don't care. It's good for business. We don't care about diversity. Blah 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 blah. So is that a lesson for us? Like, hey, you know what? Dollar bills, y'all. I don't care about you. I don't care about voting to help democracy, to help other people, or to help a woman's right. What's going to put money in my pocket? Kev, the creator. Hold that thought. Go on, Tezlyn. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you can't beat them, join them. Like at this stage, the going low, we're going to go high. It doesn't work, Don. It doesn't work. Trying to do it the right way. Oh my God, I can't believe he didn't shake her hand. They don't want to shake your hand. They've told you who they are. They've literally shown you their hand, literally in the figurative sense. By not shaking BP Harris' hand, they're showing you their hand. So now what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Sit back and cry or move forward and say, what is the next step? And what?
Well, this is Tezlyn. This is why we say that, when Democratic presidents are in office, that they need to do more, that they need to be bolder, that they can't be worried about being the angry black man, right? That they just have to, while they're in office, we understand that the rules are different, but you have to, while you're in office, get what you can get done within those 8 years or 4 years, because it comes with an expiration date. Mm-hmm. You cannot be worried if you're Joe Biden about, are all these people going to work with me? Right. Or if, quite honestly, if you're Kamala Harris, that I have to say everything correctly. So it's my only frustration with Democrats is that I want them to take notes from the Republicans. Like Donald Trump is not even in office. He doesn't care what he says. He's going to tell you what he's going to do. He's going to tell you that, I threatened those guys, and maybe I'm sure that's why they're doing it. As a matter of fact, he said it out loud today. Here it is.
That's a nice return.
Meta announced that it will stop putting fact checks on posts on its website. And Meta said today it would stop putting fact checks on its website and instead allow community to fact check.
Well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he said probably. Yeah,
he's saying it.
Yeah, he's saying it. And now what? He's saying it. You damn right he is. So until I'm sorry, this is why I could never run, because I would be just as honest. And I've always, again, I'm not a Trump supporter. I've been in trouble for saying this, but I've always just respected this gangster. Like just saying it flat out. I wish we had more of that on the left. We are in an
with you.
authoritative government, Don. Moving forward, all of this.
Say again, I cut you off. You say again about the
we're in an authoritative government. This is ruled by executive orders moving forward. You know, all of this, we got to get it through Congress and not get it through Congress. I was telling people, as you know, and again, let me thank you again publicly for all the work you did on behalf of the George Floyd family. And being one of the few journalists that made sure that Attorney Crump always had voice. I want to thank you for that. But when I said then, why don't you just pass the George Floyd Justice Policing Act, you know, by executive order? Everybody in the comments, oh, you don't understand how civics work. Oh, we got to go through Congress. Oh, we can't do that. The Republicans are going to just change it back. And I would say, well, let the Republicans change it back.
Change it back.
Change it back. Because guess what? If you pass enough, can I cuss on here? Stuff?
Yes.
Pass enough shit, then you don't have to worry about the Republicans getting in.
Apparently, you have not seen the new Don Lemon going into 2025. You can say whatever the hell you want. That's the whole point of this, of not having corporate shackles.
Right. So if you do enough shit, you don't have. Guess what? The voters will actually come out and continue to vote for you, and you don't have to worry about Republicans changing it back. And if they do change it back, so the hell what? Win again and change that shit back again. Democrats are the only ones concerned about somebody changing it back. They're going to change it back. You don't understand. Don, I got so many videos and so many podcasts about this because people are telling me, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about. Do you think Trump gave a damn about Roe versus Wade being changed back? They don't give a shit about what law was in place and what was done. They will change it back. You're going to see what change it back looks like in real time when it comes to healthcare reform, immigration, Roe versus Wade. We're seeing it. Democrats better get some balls. And I would love to come back to the Democrat Party. I left in 2010 after they lost the House and Senate when I was living in Florida. I would love to come back to the Democrat Party, but I need a Democrat Party that is about business, that understands we can no longer go by the rules, that understands that this era moving forward, Don, this civility and we need to have people working together again. It's over with, Don. It's going to forever be changed. Trump has forever changed the fabric of how we govern, and that's just that.
Yeah. Well, and also listen. When you said it's about the money and about them understanding who's in power and what's going on, this was Lena Khan, who and Meta. They have, I think there's like an antitrust. They're suing them for antitrust, and so I want to play. This is from CNBC of Lena Khan reacting to that, and she's saying, "Well, maybe they want to get a sweetheart deal, or they want some sort of favor." Regarding this antitrust lawsuit. And that's why Mark Zuckerberg is doing what he's saying. They're positing that. Here it is.
Joining us right now, first on CNBC for her exit interview is FTC Chair Lena Khan. Chair Khan, thank you for joining us. We've been talking to you now for 4 years. This is, we got eight more days before it's over.
That's right.
Business days before it's over. I want to talk about the last 4 years, the way the business community's thought about all of this, the way the business community's thought about you, the way you've thought about them, and all of that. But what I want to start before we even get to sort of looking back on this last 4 years. I don't know if you just saw the news that came out this morning from Facebook's, from Meta, around community notes. They're going to effectively get rid of their policing, if you will, of content on their own, and they're going to move parts of their team to Texas from California. There's a whole sort of move afoot. Also, just yesterday, Dana White joined the board of Meta. And the reason I'm even mentioning this is I wonder whether you look at that and this effort by some of the tech companies and others as a rebuke, if you will, of what you and the FTC have been trying to do over the last 4 years.
Well, Andrew, it's so great to be here with you. And look, what the rules are for speech online is an enormously important question. And a world and an economy in which those rules are being set by a single company or even a single executive is deeply at odds with why we have the antitrust laws and the anti-monopoly laws, right? I mean, this is an economy that has thrived when we have fierce competition. And I've heard a lot of concerns, including on both sides of the aisle, about what happens when you concentrate control and have gatekeepers over who gets heard and who gets to speak.
So it sounds like you'd be a fan of what Meta's doing then.
Well, look, I think we should have an economy where the decisions of a single company or a single executive are not having extraordinary impact on speech online. And I know that's a concern that we hear bipartisan members of Congress talk about. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. We, of course, have litigation ongoing. There's going to be a trial starting this spring, FTC versus Facebook, alleging that their prior acquisitions were illegal.
What do you think, though, of the relationship that we're seeing between big tech and the next administration? What do you make of the meetings and pilgrimages with which we're seeing Mark Zuckerberg go to Mar-a-Lago, or we're seeing a Jeff Bezos or a Tim Cook? I mean, this is a very different kind of relationship than the administration, the Biden administration had, and specifically what you represented to the business community.
So I approach my
Big
job
pause.
with a focus on faithfully and
That was a big pause. Anyways, she got that in there that they're suing the Meta, right? The FTC is for antitrust. And so I don't know. Does it matter? Do you think anything you think there's anything that can be done to monitor this relationship, or to sort of, to use Andrew Ross Sorkin's words, to sort of police this relationship and the concern about this relationship with what folks are calling the oligarchs over the information distributing process of our country through social media and even through traditional media?
I hate to be a negative Nancy, but I'm a veteran, Don, and my strategy for war is not. In other words, make the quick answer. No, nothing can be done. They've already said what they're going to do. They're going to do it. What I want to know is, what are people on the other side going to do to compete? Where is the opposition? Where is the kryptonite? Where is the standing on one side begging? These deals have already been made. This stuff has already been put out there. The question is, what are you doing on the other side to compete? And so far, they're behind, years behind. And so that's what my problem is. If the Harris campaign organized every celebrity from Beyonce to Taylor Swift to Sexy Red to Plies to you name everybody in Hollywood in 100 days, why is this type of organization not happening year round? If those are the people that have the big platforms, if those are and again, before people beat me up in the comments, because people love saying we don't need entertainers speaking about politics. I'm not saying entertainers need to speak about politics. What I'm saying is they have access to millions and millions of followers that I do not. That's what I'm saying. And so there's no coordinated effort to get the other information out, the information that we think people need to get. And if we are not coming up with some type of coordinated effort to partner with somebody, then we lose. Because begging them to stop, they're not going to stop. It's done. It's over with. But that doesn't mean stick your head in the damn sand. I have begged and begged and begged Plies. I begged Plies back in 2011 when I was running for city commissioner in Orlando, Florida. They told me Plies would never get involved in politics. Wasn't interested in politics. Could care less about politics. Said, Plies, you really got to get involved. Your record, 100 years, you could do great talking about criminal justice reform. And then now all of a sudden Plies is on, on Instagram 4, 5, 6 times a day talking about politics. I love to see it. But I would also like to see him partner with an organizer. And I'm not talking about just me, Don, but somebody such as myself, or anybody for that matter, that is actually organizing people throughout the year. It's going to take more than just an Instagram post. We need training. We need resources. We need money. How the hell are the people who are fighting this going to be able to pay their bills? If there's no contracts, if people can't pay their bills, then you don't have people that can use their voice. Bills have to get paid. So if there's no coordinated effort where people are supporting those who are trying to fight this, this is where we're in trouble. But I don't think yelling and screaming and begging for them to do what they've already done. I just think that's a waste of time.
Tezlyn, I want you to listen to preach. Someone said, Sharon Golding says in the chat, preach Tezlyn. I agree with that. Scott Galloway and Scott Galloway of the Pivot podcast and Prof G podcasts has another one now with Jessica Tarlov from Fox News. I think it's called A Radical Middle or something like that. And they talk about where Democrats need to go from here. I want to get your opinion on that. Here it is.
It strikes me that, and I think it's a fair accusation of Democrats, is that we're in many ways more obsessed with race than Republicans. And I think we need to get away from this. I would exit identity politics as aggressively as possible and move right into the discussion around inflation, around the economics argument. But until we move away from everything the Democratic Party being around, we're here to protect and advance the rights of this group as identified by their race, their religion, their ethnicity, their nationality. I think we're stuck in this inexorable downward spiral.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, it's a good thing that society has moved in the direction that it has.
Wow.
It is a bad thing for Democrats politically that we've been slow on the uptick about it. And you look at someone like an AOC who, split district, right? South Bronx went for her and they went for Donald Trump, or Jared Golden in Maine. And this happened all over the country, right? Where people said, I want to choose my fighter. And that was the key theme of this. If you are going to be fighting for me, I don't really care if you have a donkey or an elephant sitting, on the other side of your name or your party affiliation.
Tezlyn?
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that's a real privilege of them to sit there and talk about how to get away from race. Guess what? I got news for you. I won't be getting away from race. I won't be getting away from. In fact, I'm gonna go even deeper when it comes to talking about race, because race is absolutely a part of the conversation. And again, this is what these moderate. This is the moderates that Malcolm X talked about. To sit up here and talk about we need to get away from. We need to go to economics and act like race didn't play a factor. That race doesn't play a factor. That gender doesn't play a factor. That's just a flat out lie. And so it's still, again, it's important. Follow those who continue to have those conversations. And yeah, the liberals, the white liberals, the moderates, they do want to get away from race, Don. They don't want to acknowledge it either. I called out the progressive movement, Bernie Sanders, for being anti-black. This movement is very much anti-black. So even though you see the progressives and, we're all about everybody, at the end of the day, there's a lot of anti-black that still happens in the Democrat Party, which I take a lot of issue with. So of course they want to get away from it. I'm not getting away from it, but of course they want to get away from it. I'm not surprised at all.
When I saw that soundbite and when I heard that soundbite, I said to the producers, wow, you have two white people around sitting around talking about how to get rid of race or not to talk about race. And I remember interviewing people who said, we need to stop talking about it, because the more you talk about it, it's not going to make it. If you don't talk about it, it is going to go away. Now, I know Scott. I don't believe Scott is, some racist, and I don't believe that Jessica Tarlov is either. But I think that, to be aware of race is very important. Perhaps I'm offering them the benefit of the doubt, but maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe they're talking about democratic messaging. Maybe they're talking about keeping their cards close to the vest. But that certainly did not come off as something that I see as positive or also good advice for any political party, especially when MAGA is the biggest identity political party in modern history.
Absolutely. And the Democrat Party is a big, big, big tent. Too big, many would argue. Too many different messages that they're trying to appease. And so when you have so many different messages, so many different races, so many different genders, so many different beliefs, so many different, it's almost like it's too big, which is why people advocate and say there needs to be a third party, where there's a kind of separate some of this stuff. So you have everybody in the Democrat Party saying, hey, what about me? What about me? What about me? And now people are feeling that race has overtaken the conversation, and now it needs to get back to the economy. The economy didn't have shit to do with why many of these white folks, including white liberals, that went in and voted for Donald Trump. It just simply didn't.
It wasn't the cost of eggs?
It wasn't the cost of eggs, Don. Yeah. Breaking news. It wasn't. And if it was, that was a very small, very minute detail.
But these are, for me, it's a very smart people and sitting. And I'm surprised that Jessica did not say anything. And Scott, I'm gonna call Scott right after this and talk to him. Isn't this a case of allowing your enemies or allowing your competitors to define who you are, to believe what they say about you rather than what you say about you?
Well, let me say this, because I don't know Scott, so I'll get in trouble for what I'm about to say. I don't know Scott. You can call Scott when you get out, but tell Scott, when I hear people like that being straight up, I say that's who Scott is. So let Scott know that I don't know Scott. And you know him, you had a conversation. I'm not giving the benefit of anything. When I hear white men sit up and talk like that, I say that's who Scott's always been. That's what Scott has always believed. That Scott been believing this for a real long time, Scott. Let's go follow you into the booth, Scott, because I want to see who you really voting for when you pull that curtain back. That's what I see. I see Scott being Scott, which is keeping white male privilege above all. That's what I see. And you can, and feel free, shout out to you, Scott. I don't know you personal. I don't know anything about you. I've said your name about 20 times now. Don can call you and
I'm going to tell him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a conversation.
When I see that, I say, "Oh, that's Scott. That's been Scott. That's been Scott on the job. That's been Scott, who I've always seen, throughout my entire life. He's a representation of all the Scotts, to me. And it's very relevant in the Democrat Party. And when you say, well, do you want the enemy to define who you are? No, Scott is being who Scott is, which is a white man. Scott ain't being who I am. I'm here to fight for my needs. See, I have no problem. And this is why, Don, I keep telling people, I know you guys love to say it because I hear it all the time. White women voted against their interests. White people voted against their No, they voted.
Yeah, they voted for their interests.
I don't know why people keep saying that, but it's again, but your good sister Joy Reid, she says it all the time, and it makes my skin crawl when I hear it, because I keep pushing back to say no. Their interest was white supremacy. Their interest is making sure that their husbands, their dads, their sons had privilege first, and then them second. That was actually their interest. So I don't expect Scott to push for the issues that matter to me. What I expect is for Tezlyn to push for the issues that matters to her and her community. And what I expect is for my community and those who are allies of my community to support me. I don't have no problem with it. In the military, it was a reason why we had Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force. We all fought the war a different way. We had a common goal, but we all fought differently. Marines didn't do what the Army did. Army didn't do what the Air Force did. And the Air Force, sure enough, didn't do what the Navy did. So I don't have a problem with white people saying, I want to make sure my interest is first. You should, but also don't have a problem with me wanting to make sure my interest is first as well, and how I want to negotiate that vote.
What do you say on that phone call if you were on there? What would you say to Scott and Jessica?
Yeah, I would tell Scott and Jessica they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They need to speak about the business that pays them. So if they want to they're not the entire Democrat Party. So when they say, well, we don't need to be talking about the Democrat Party and race, I need to remind Scott that 90% of the Democrat Party is black folks. So let's first get that straight. So he's speaking on behalf of a party that white men simply do not have the majority of. So if Scott wants to speak on behalf of white men, then he should probably speak on behalf of MAGA. That's my answer. He's not a representation of the Democrat Party as it stands today. As far as actual voters that actually go to the polls and vote Democrat, the majority of those people are black people, are like they like to say, people of color. It's not Scott. He's out of pocket. He's out of place. So this maybe should have been a conversation for him to have offline and not online, because now it's online and now I'm speaking and now you got to go call Scott and tell Scott that you didn't have any control of what I said. And
No. I'm going to have the conversation with him, because I said, look, I don't think that he is, but I think that maybe he's unaware. We'll see. I'm going to have this conversation with him.
I think he's very aware. I think he's aware. I think Carvel's aware. I think all these white men that sit up here talking about hush, 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 be quiet, don't say nothing about race because I want to get my white brethren on board to vote Democrat. I think they're very much aware. I think they're intelligent enough to be aware. I didn't have a problem with it, Don. That's why I said Joe Biden should have stayed on the ticket. I said that. I said that Joe Biden should not have gotten off the ticket. You know why? Because he makes the Scotts of the world and the MAGA people of the world very comfortable. Let's not forget, why did Barack Obama put Joe Biden on the ticket? Because he was Uncle Joe. They could go and speak in Michigan, in those states with some. Let's not forget Joe Biden.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, let's not forget Joe Biden's record. Let's not forget his record. That's why some people were surprised on the segregation and the crime bill and all that. People that never paid attention to his record. Joe Biden was there to bring the Scots on in. That's why I said no, Joe Biden. They will vote for a half-dead Joe Biden before they would an alive and well VP Harris. Yeah, I just believe that. I know that. So I don't have a problem with it at all. At all. I have no problem with that. Joe Biden should have stayed on the ticket, but he didn't. So now here we are.
Tezlyn, people want to know where they can get in touch with you, where they can follow you, where they can see you.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at Tezlyn Figaro. I am at Revolt News. We're going to do some things there this year as well. So Revolt News and just Tezlyn Figaro on Instagram.
Oh, Tezlyn, before you go, I want to, oh man, I'd be remiss if I didn't play this, because you talked about what you're trying to do on Revolt News is to get away from what the Meta and Zuckerberg announced today. You're trying to get folks away from that. But you know who else is trying to do it as well? And I had him on the show recently. He responded to Mark Zuckerberg today, and that is Isaac Hayes III. This was his response that he posted and he sent to me. Watch this.
Hello. Today you saw a video of Mark Zuckerberg walking back the policies that kept Instagram and Facebook trusted platforms for their users to turn to. Real trust, the kind that makes you feel seen and heard, is what social media is supposed to be about, right? But these days it feels like that trust is slipping away. When platforms start stepping back from accountability, it makes me think, where does that leave us? Freedom of speech thrives on informed discussions where individuals can exchange ideas rooted in truth. If platforms allow unchecked misinformation to spread, it pollutes public discourse. This makes it harder for the people to distinguish fact from fiction, undermining the very foundation of meaningful communication. It is apparent now more than ever that the oligarchs only seek to increase their wealth, suppress the truth, and consolidate their power, all at the expense of the communities they've built their fortunes on and claim to serve. But we have a choice. We can stand idly by and watch as trust erodes, or we can act boldly, decisively, and invest in platforms that value us, that respect us, and that empower us. And that choice starts right now. I'm asking every single one of you to download Fanbase today. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Become part of something bigger. At Fanbase, we're dedicated to building an environment that is not only free from misinformation, but is safe and welcoming as well. So be heard, become part of the shift in power, and download Fanbase. This is our moment to redefine what social media can be. This is our moment to own the future.
Let me correct something now, because I want to be clear. I'm not trying to get people to go away from Facebook. When you were saying trying to get people, no. I say get in the fight. Get in. Matter of fact, I might go back on Facebook now that they're pulling out, taking everything away. Let's get in the fight. I like a good fight.
Well, you remember when I tried to go on X for a good fight, but then it did not work out the way that I wanted to. But listen, I think I'm going to start posting more now on Facebook.
Yes. So I want to be clear. No. I'm saying get over there, but come under my comments and keep my stuff popping too. That's what I'm saying. Let's get in the fight. I'm down with rolling in the mud. I'm down. You go low, I go lower. I want to meet you where you're at. I love all of that. But again, I'm M60 gun. I love a good fight. So no, I don't want to move people away from Facebook. I support the homie Isaac. I think what he's doing is important, but I'm not about let's just decide. Matter of fact, at Revolt News, when we did we do a live versus, and I had to tell Revolt, I said, open up the chat. They were saying, let's have a delay on the chat. That way they can think about their thoughts and have an informed decision. I said, oh hell no, let them come on in. I even talk to the trolls when I'm online. Come on in.
Same here, and I tell the moderators, like, no, let them. If they're being, if they're calling people out of their names, I don't know about that, but let them in. Let them talk. Let's talk to them.
Water's just fine. The trolls, shout out to all the trolls in the building. Without the trolls, we wouldn't have record numbers that we've had at Revolt News. Have never had the numbers that we have on my shows because the trolls kept the algorithms up. They made about 100 different videos. They're constantly, commenting, constantly making the numbers go. This is a numbers game. So the trolls are critical. They're important. I love a good troll. It's nothing better than a good troll. You helped me get my contract secured yet again for the trolls. So I don't want to move people away from that. I want to say, no, let's get in the fight. And just support me when you see your girl in some of those places. And let's make sure we have I call my family the comment caucus. I have a comment caucus. Shout out to the comment caucus, where we have a group of us that say when Tezlyn's on the platform, we're going to come in and we're going to get in the fight. That's what we're going to do. And I just think we need more of that.
Yes. And so moderators, for my moderators who are on TikTok, I'm looking at TikTok now. Remember, the trolls keep up the algorithm. Let them in, right? I don't want them calling people out their names, but should we allow that, Tezlyn?
I like them calling out my name, me personally, but don't follow me because I'm with it all. This is where we are, and so we either meet people where we are, or we try to parent people and say, be like this, be thoughtful. I'm gonna talk to Isaac about that video because I didn't see that. And I'm gonna tell him, okay, but who gets to decide what's true and not true? You want to get fan base popping? Let him come on in. I understand what he's saying. What Isaac is saying is come to a platform that respects you, as a person. But if we want to compete, then this is a numbers game. And in order to do that, the trolls are essential to keep it, because those who love us, they love us, Don, and they follow us, but they go on to the next thing. They're not angry enough to keep.
They're not passionate enough and angry enough. And as my friend said, when I did the whole thing a couple of weeks ago, last week I believe, where I said, I talked about the MAGA folks and I used the F-bomb and I said, you guys are dumb and you don't know. Donald Trump does that every day, right? There are people on the right on these platforms who do that every single day. And guess what? The folks who are part of their ecosystem, the conservative newspapers of the world, they amplify them. Oh my gosh, such and such calls someone a blah, blah, blah on her platform on this show, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody tunes in. They don't do that for us. We don't have anyone doing that for us. So when someone like me does it, they go, I can't believe Don Lemon said the F-bomb and call somebody dumb, even though your president
does it daily.
That's right. right? So let everybody in. Let the F-bombs fly.
Let them fly. My people are from Louisiana. That's what Figaro is. We some good cussers.
That's where I am. I'm in Louisiana right now.
Oh, you're in Louisiana.
You
Okay,
see that river behind me, right? I'm in
Okay.
Baton Rouge right now. I'm here. My sister's in the hospital, unfortunately, and I'm visiting her. And so I got to go over to the hospital and see her in a minute. But I'm in Louisiana. And I'm in Louisiana. And by the way, I got to say, I've been listening to a lot of conservative radio. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, these people, as you said, they're passionate. They are, it's like a cult-like fan base that they have. And there's no, I just click through when I drive through, I just hit the scan button. Conservative station at the conservative station after conservative station. There's no sort of liberal or middle ground station. It's all conservatives that go from radio to streaming, and then at night they go on to the Fox Newses of the world, and they just continue spreading their message and their word, and it's a cult-like experience. They fire people up to listen to these platforms. The sponsors and the business people give them a lot of money, and then they end up getting people to go vote.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Where's your family from?
Rain, Louisiana.
Rain, all right. Mine's from Port Allen. Not rude.
Yep, and it works. So either we get on board with it or we don't. That's where we are, Don. I'm so grateful to be on today.
I'm so grateful. Thank you. So tell people again where they can find you. They can
Tezlyn
see
Figaro. Yeah, Tezlyn Figaro. TEZLYN FIGARO. I'm the same everywhere. I engage most on Instagram. Like I'll go back and forth with a troll. I'll play the dozens. People don't know the dozens. I like to talk about people's mamas, dad. Like I go there, Don. Like I really go there. My people on Instagram say I'm with the shits at all times. But I also engage and empower and inspire and do all of those things. But there's an entertainment value to it as well, because that's the only way, we're really going to be able to push that message through. So we have a lot of fun on Instagram. So come follow me.
I appreciate you. Never change. Come back early and often, or late and often, but just as long as you show up. Thank you for doing what you do, Tezlyn. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'm so happy that you are here. Obviously, Tezlyn was a great guest, right? And don't you agree? Let the trolls, let them troll. My friend said to me, trolls and haters are fans too. Otherwise, they would not be up in your chat or watching your show. When I was on CNN, they said I got the most social engagement. The guests would say, when I come on your show, my gosh, my Twitter goes crazy. When I come on your show, my Instagram goes crazy. And I said, it's because of all the haters that I have out there on the right, all the homophobes, all the racists. And they said, well, that's good, because at least people know. They're aware. You make them aware, meaning the guests. Relevant. So moderators, don't moderate too much with the trolls. Let the trolls do their thing, because they boost the algorithm. So trolls, come on in here. I like you to be respectful. I would like that. But I'm just saying, I agree. If we're going to compete, Tezlyn is right. What a smart woman. Now, we do need your support. I tell you every single day, we need your support. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We have so many thousands and thousands of people watching us, and not enough thumbs up, not enough likes. So smash the heart so that folks know that we're here. If you're watching us on TikTok, on Instagram, I don't believe we're on Instagram today because producer Nikki is out, and Nikki's the only one that knows how to get us on the Instagram. But we are on Facebook, which is important. So we'll continue to do our live show on Facebook every single day. And I'm going to start engaging on Facebook more. That's going to be a promise of mine, to engage on Facebook. And so I'm glad you guys enjoyed the show. Let's see. I'm going to do some of our members, just take a couple of questions or a couple of comments from some of our members today, because we want to prioritize our members' comments, because they pay to support us. They love us. They support us. No, I don't see any galaxies on TikTok tonight. Chrissy Floyd says, thank you, Don. Winston Sawyer says, big ups, Don Lemon. Bunny Scoggins says, X, whatever that means. I don't have Facebook. Old school here, says West 156. All right, well, you're here. You're on YouTube. That's totally fine. Don, or Daniel, says, get Daniel Moody on your show, says Mandy Miranda. I'm going to look up Daniel Moody. Producers, look up Daniel Moody to get the contact information. Northern Tier FVP says, great show, Don. Hope your sister is doing well. She's doing better. Lizzie Beth, who knows my sister, her name is, she's in these comment streets. Tell Miss Ema we miss her, please. She comes out with some good comments. She's not in the comments today, I don't think. Maybe she is. She was trying to get on today because today was the first day that they eased off on the medication where she was somewhat coherent. Stephanie Ray Suziak says, get Sarah Adams on your show. Don, you crack me up as if that man has a perm, says Juju. Well, it looked like he had a perm. Y'all the one who said he looked like Screech. Did you not say that? You call the man Screech from Saved by the Bell? Social media post from Stephen Miller says to expect turbocharged denaturalization project. All right, we'll see what happens. Thank you for the galaxy on TikTok, by the way. I appreciate it. I don't have enough. Let's see if I can get enough TikTok savvy to see who actually sent it. Tezlyn just sent a thing, said, thank you so much. That was great. We love Tezlyn. Don, you TikToking or YouTubing? I'm doing both. I'm over here on the YouTube. That's why I'm facing this way, because that's what I'm on. Hello, Don. Love you for being honest, says Poe E66. Thank you. I appreciate that. Don can eat dinner now, says Exo. I'm not going to eat dinner now. By the way, I had boiled crawfish earlier before this show and some boiled shrimp. I know I've gained 10 pounds since I've been here. Why is Trump distracting from lowering our grocery bills, says Steven on TikTok? Because he can't do it, because that's his thing. It's distraction and delay. Delay, delay, delay. That's what it is. Sweet Teas by Tammy says, love you, Don. Thank you. Greetings from Poland, says Justin Walker. I'm over on TikTok. Love you forever. Thank you, Don. One user says it's crawfish season. Says Polisa Akusa, or is it Ako? Yeah, Akusa. Or is it USA? Someone says Trash Lemon. Thank you. But if you're going to call me Trash Lemon, you could at least be respectful enough to make the T capital, because then you would be accurate. The T in trash capital and the L in lemon capital as well, because that's how you do a proper name. So I don't mind being called. Thank you, Gorilla Dome. Thank you. I appreciate you calling me that. It shows who you are, right? Thank you. I subscribe on YouTube, or don't have premium, so came back here to avoid the ads. Look, I wish there was a way somehow we could affect it where if you became a member that you don't get the ads, but that is not up to me. That's up to the YouTube. Unfiltered lemon, they say. I prefer to call myself dark lemon. Read them, Don. And the gifters. So I'm going to say goodbye to my folks on to you and Tezlyn. Have great synergy, says Sean Michelle. Thank you very much for that. You're amazing, Don, says Chrissy Floyd. It's up to the oligarchy, says Chris B. Spicy lemon, says Amanda Belcher. Ron Foster says, let the trolls roll. Yeah, let them roll. After the last few days, it is good to have someone on, especially a black woman, to encourage us to re-engage and continue the fight, says Estella W. I'm so glad. Let me tell you guys this. After the conversation that I had this morning regarding when I said this is the truth about where we are, that the MAGA folks are in control of every single branch of our government, and they're also in control of the social media sites. Thank you very much for Stephen Powell, I believe, for the Galaxy on TikTok. So when I told you, Lemon Tria, says Kat in the chat. So when I said this is the truth about where we are and that they're in control of the social media sites, and they're also in control of even our legacy media, and that's because they don't really care. They worry about winning. They worry about, they're concerned about power. They're concerned about amassing more money and fortunes. They're not concerned about throwing people away. They don't care if you're perfect or not. They don't even care if you have SA allegations. They don't care. As long as you're a good voice for them, if you have money, if you can help their cause. Carmen Buchanan, thank you. I hope your sister continues to heal. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support of independent media. Your very generous support. Thank you. And so Democrats need to learn from that. And I hate to keep bringing up Al Franken, but he is the biggest example. And there are others. that Democrats just go, oh no, I can't. Oh my God, they did this. I can't. Oh my God, it's just so bad. You heard what Tezlyn said. You can continue to fight for who you are and for the things that you believe in, but you have to allow people to be people, even with their foibles and their imperfections. And understand that people say things, do things, make mistakes. But if they're your ally, then you don't throw them away. You stand by them. And if there can't be any bigger lesson than to look at who Donald Trump is amplifying and promoting and appointing. Look at who the people who are the voices of the Republican Party now. You can say all you want about the Republican Party, and there's a lot of it is true. The purity test, Marie Maniscalco. Thank you. The purity test from Democrats. So how do you do it? You get out there in the fight. You talk to the person who you believe is. You don't cast them and throw them away. Do you do that to family members? You don't. So that's one way when people said to move forward. What do? That's how you move forward. Especially the people you love and who are your allies, you forgive them. Bring Al Franken back. That's Kimberly Jackson. She's not a member. Kimberly, become a member. I'm not going to read your comments anymore, at least out loud. Maria says, if I did, I would be an orphan, says Maria. Oh, if you had a purity test, if you threw away the people you love, you'd be an orphan. Yes, I agree with that. 100%. Are military members getting this whole ordeal? Someone asks on TikTok. I'm not sure what you're talking about. May you cast family members away if they don't invest in you like USA doesn't if you are from Scotland. I don't know what that means, Stephen Clark. I have no idea. Can you explain that? Please. You got to cuss them out sometimes before you forgive, Don. Amen. Sir, love in the room. You got it. You can curse them out and then you can forgive them and you let them know to not fuck with you anymore. Don't do that shit no more. That's what you say. The entire agenda is to regain the racial majority, the birth dearth, says Lady J. Oh, Trump talking about using military against Panama and Greenland is Alicia. Yes, we talked about that. I don't mind being an orphan, says Miss Chrissy. Well, some folks do. I think it's better there's safety in numbers. Someone said, I thought this was RuPaul. You must have been looking at your mama when you thought that was RuPaul, says John McClain. Apparently, your mama looks like a black drag queen. So don't come for me. I wish I looked like RuPaul because she is gorgeous. And I wish I had RuPaul's money. And so do you. And you ain't got none of it. You sitting at home trolling with no money, talking about two black people, both who have money and who don't have to work ever again. Now run and tell that. Probably have to go, like Phaedra said, and do his business at a clinic tonight, whoever's in there trolling, to buy him a piece of pizza. And he's talking about two wealthy black people who don't need to work. Now run and tell that. I said what I said. I said what I said, and I'm not changing it. Who probably has a white refrigerator? Do you have a white refrigerator at home? The ghetto. Because I don't. I haven't had one for decades, by the way. Nothing wrong with a white refrigerator. I do have a white deep freezer. That's one that I have in my home. I'm just saying. A white refrigerator. Ooh, the ghetto. Not a white refrigerator. I love Nene Leakes on that show. Someone said, don't pick on my white refrigerator. I have a friend who has a white refrigerator, and they're always laughing at me because I laugh. Because I think, though, when you think the white refrigerator is going to make a comeback, people laugh at my white. I have a white deep freezer. You know the big deep freezer that you open up from the top? Because my mom sends me so much stuff. Don, give it to them, Don. I don't care anymore. But do you think that they'll make a comeback? Unserious Don Lemon is my favorite, says Maria Antonia. No, Maria, I'm not unserious. I'm just untethered, unencumbered, emancipated. That's what I am. I'm not going to sit here and pretend all those things. Don, you're all over the place, and then haters of mine keep us laughing with them. You don't see. I couldn't read people. I could not read. Where can you find your interview of Musk? Can I watch it? Go on YouTube and search it. Make sure you watch the one that's from the Don Lemon show. Let's see if I can put it. I'll put it in the top of the chat on YouTube. Let's see if I can. I'm going to find it in the YouTube, and I'm going to put it at the top of the chat. And that way you guys will have it. Okay. Where is share? Copy the link. And then I'm going to go back to YouTube and to this chat that we're in here. And I'm going to, our producers, I'm going to put it, now, so it's in the chat if you're there. And then you know what? I'm going to go over here and do the same thing if you want to know where to find it. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to find it for you. Stand by. I hope you can still see me. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I hope you can still see me. Let's see. I can find it right here. Don't go anywhere, TikTok. It's in the chat. Do I have it in the right chat? Yeah, it's in the chat on what we're on now, Andy. I just put it in the chat. Do you see it's in the top? You have it in the top now.
Okay, I'll find it.
I think maybe Peter put it in the top. I think it's in there. Let's see if I can find it for the folks. Here we go. Okay, I have it. Share. Peter pinned it. My producers are like, what is he doing? Copy the link. Now I'm going to go over to the, oh, shoots. I don't even know how to get in my own chat. Let's see if I can get Bobby, one of the moderators, to do it. Let's see, Bobby. Okay. I can't find it. Let's see if this is it. No, it's not. Okay, I'll find it. I'll send it. Let me do it this way. Stand by. Well, I'll send it. Bobby, I'm going to send it to you. Or I'm going to send it. I'll put it in the chat after I get out of here.
Oh, Don, you're muted.
But anyway, sorry, I'll put it in the chat. I'll ask Bobby to do it. Sorry, I didn't mean to mute. So anyway, all you have to do is go on the YouTube and search for Don Lemon, Elon Musk, and you'll find that interview. Okay? So I appreciate you joining us. Anything else you want to ask me? Anything else you want to talk about? What are you doing to the live? I know I just screwed up. I hope it's still there. Are you guys still there? Because did I mess up the live? Let me know if I'm still there. Okay? What's with our Treasury Secretary stepping down? And well, it's over. The administration is over. People are leaving. You're here. How do I get into my own chats, guys? I don't even know how to post things in my own chat. I really don't know how to post things in my own chat. I have no idea. Can anybody tell me? I don't know how to work the TikTok, but I'll put it in there. Oh, got it. There you go. Thank you, Jilly. The moderator put it in the chat and pinned it for us. And that's the interview. Not a white refrigerator. So, guys, I'm cutting into the visiting hours for my sis, okay? And that's it. So thank you. And I appreciate you. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on the way out. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. You can subscribe. Subscriptions are free, but you can become a member, and that's really important to us, okay? Make sure you do all of that because it affects the algorithm, and I appreciate you for helping me build this community, okay? So I shall see you later, and have a fantastic evening And there you go. See ya. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.